Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Irish Sports Daily Instant Reaction post-game show following Notre Dame's 37-15 win over Pittsburgh, 22-point win over the 22-ranked Pittsburgh Panthers. My friend Jude Seymour says it's a scoregami. Notre Dame has never won a game 37-15 in their storied history, so that's kind of fun. It's very annoying, and I'm in a very bad mood about the disgrace that was those roughing the quarterback penalties.
Horrible
on the last drive, and then Pat Narduzzi, like that really, it's like bugging me. I'm like mad about it, but there's a lot of good things that happened in this game. Notre Dame's defense was phenomenal. Once again, they gave up the one touchdown at the very end. They also gave up a pick six, which is obviously, or Pitt scored on a pick six, obviously has nothing to do with the defense. In fact, the Notre Dame defense got points on that because they intercepted the 2-point conversion and ran it back 100 yards for a touch, or for 2 points. So we're going to talk about everything going on with this game. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. If you like what you hear, please hit that like button. Please hit subscribe. Please hit the notification bell so you know whenever it is we are going live. Links to the podcast are in the description below. As always, the show is brought to you by ESQ Clothing, founded by Notre Dame alum Ga Wang. And he's Chicago's go-to for the best custom suits, shirts, and sport coats. It's right about the time for the season of gifting, and ESQ is here to help get you, your husband, father, son, nephew, and even that unlikable uncle some style for the holidays. They're known for their next-level craftsmanship using the finest fabrics. ESQ has introduced a 100% Pima cotton t-shirt to go along with its award-winning bamboo dress shirt, which is available for purchase online. And as you know, it is ESQ's Black Friday sale going on. Using code ISD, you get 49% on all online items. Everything that I just talked about. You go online and you can get 49% off using code ISD. Not valid on custom items and gift cards. They've got showrooms downtown Chicago and in Winnetka. Book your custom fitting at esqclothing.com and step into confidence with Chicago's finest. We've got a super chat from Nicholas Lavario. Thank you for the super chat, Nicholas. I don't see a corresponding message, so if you've got one, I'll monitor the chat, and I'll get your comment up. Right, you gave us some money, so I'll put your comment on. Should you have one? Oh, okay. Here we go. The refs were terrible again. They never showed the holding penalties on replay against Notre Dame's O-line. The ACC refs are just bad. I actually noted that in our chat.
They never showed them.
Interesting. Interesting. Steve Miller, thank you for the super chat. No need to shout out. Just appreciate what you guys do every week. Can't usually make the live shows, but happy to show my appreciation. I appreciate you, Steve Miller. And look, you give us money, I'll shout you out. No problem. Michael Hahn says the Jamie U game thread on ISD, if you're a member, is the best. Jamie, giving it to the people, making it a hard thing. Yeah, for sure. You know what? Let's not talk about complaints right at the start. Let's talk about.
Don't worry, I'm ready to go off on the refs as well too. So, yeah.
Let's talk about Notre Dame's defense. 219 yards for Pitt, minus this last drive, which again was a total disgrace. But for the longest time, it was Jeremiyah Love total yards 167, Pitt 165. So Jeremiyah Love was outgaining the entire Pittsburgh team by himself. And to be honest with you, like 167 isn't that, it's a lot of yards, but it's not that many yards. That just, to me, that shows the defensive performance that Notre Dame put out there today. Pitt had a good offense, Jamie. And this is, again, Notre Dame is facing offenses that frankly are much better than they faced a year ago. And they're putting up similar numbers. You got to give them their credit. I thought Chris Ash had a good plan for them. I thought that defensive players executed the plan as we kind of suspected. Pitt could not block Notre Dame in any kind of way. They could not run the ball. And I just thought a very, very strong performance from everyone on the defense in this game. What did you, we said all of our predictions were like Notre Dame was going to blow them out. And I think ISD members were surprised by that, but this is kind of what we thought could happen. Is that right, Jamie?
Yeah. I think there was a lot of fraudulent stuff that you could see with Pitt that it was like, this stuff, it's very likely to get exposed in this game.
Yeah.
It did. It did. I mean, let's face it. Man, props to Mason Heintzel. He's a tough kid. He's, obviously he escaped. Probably should have been sacked like 8 times in the game.
Yeah. Yes.
Escaped a bunch of times, and I'm sure Notre Dame's guys are going to hear about that in the game. But you look at all that, and the kind of game that he had compared to how he's played the rest of the time, and it was like there was even the Bryce Young should have been a pick 6 dropped.
Yeah.
Like that were they were just exposed in this game. Their O-line is not good, and that was obvious. The fact that Notre Dame could put 5 in the box and stop their running game, like literally, they were like, you can have even numbers with us in the box. You can spread out all you want, even numbers, and you can't run. And they didn't run. Like that just said everything about it. They can't block anyone.
Yeah.
And really, like, other than like Desmond Reed winning on some stuff in space, what was successful for them in the game? Other than like Poppy Williams got behind the defense on the 1, didn't catch it.
Yeah.
But you know what? Even on those, Greg, like, I don't know if you like Pitt receivers had some drops in this game. None of those were good throws.
Yeah.
They were ball placement wise, they were like, that was like his back shoulder. He would have had to like reach back, and it was not an easy catch. Like there was the one where it was like to the tight end on 3rd and goal, which you're like, oh man, he hit the guy right in the helmet. He threw a laser at the guy. Like it was not. It wasn't a good throw. So there was just a lot of that too, where like, yeah, it's some of their like self-inflicted mistakes by Pitt, but like Notre Dame whooped them and was just way better than them. And I mean, what can you say when really like the reality is Notre Dame's defense outscored them 9-3? Like that is insane. Like that just says everything about how Notre Dame played in this game. They were averaging 40 a game. And you come into this game and like 3.8 yards per attempt for Mason Heintzel. Like, I mean, come on. Like you dominated them. They're literally EPA per play negative 0.56. That's in the 0 percentile. That's how dominant it was.
Yeah. I can't, there's not much else to say. Right. And people were talking about Christian Gray against these wide receivers. I don't know if I brought it up, who exactly I brought it up with, but people were worried about Christian Gray. And my point was like, Christian Gray's got, but not by Pitt, not by teams like Pitt. It's like USC and it's Ohio State, and to some extent it was Texas A&M, right? It's not Pitt. Like he hasn't struggled against opponents like this. And I thought he played a good game. I thought Leonard Moore played a good game. I thought the PI on him in the end zone was erroneous.
Horrible call.
Just an unfortunate decision on that play. So I thought that Pitt would have drives that gave Notre Dame problems, and to some extent they did, but it was mostly just plays. They had certain plays, like they were able to scheme up, like Drake Bowen in coverage again. Like, here's the thing, right? And I know as I'm watching this, people are going to be like putting out on like Twitter and stuff like Drake Bowen in coverage. Okay, he is a Mike linebacker covering in space a scat back like Darren Sproles type,
160-pound guy.
Like, of course, like that
runs a sub 440.
Yeah, and like what happened? They got him on an out route a couple of times, and then the other time they got him on 4th down was when he got picked. They ran the guy right at him, and he runs into him. So I thought Pitt had that right. They had that kind of plan, and that worked out to the extent that it did. Beyond that, I didn't think they really had anything for Notre Dame offensively, and that kind of showed in the kind of the output there. So I thought Chris Ash and the defense. Caden McFarland, he's a Notre Dame fan, but he works in Tulsa. He works in Oklahoma. He's on the Oklahoma beat. And he asked me maybe last week what unit I trusted more, offense or defense at this point. And I'm kind of leaning defense. And maybe we've talked about this before on the show, but that's kind of where I'm at. It's just hard for me, especially going against the rest of the teams, right? And obviously, I don't believe Syracuse is going to be a threat to Notre Dame. I don't believe Stanford is going to be a threat to Notre Dame. But just generally speaking, the defense is humming right now. And they've been humming for a good amount of time at this point.
Yeah. And one thing that probably doesn't get talked about enough is that the defense has played good offenses all year. Like highly ranked offenses, teams that put up a lot of points. I thought it was, well done by Jesse Palmer to kind of point out like some of the differences of like, you've talked about it a lot, Greg, about the Arkansas thing, but like, I don't hear a lot of national people talking about that.
Yeah.
And that's true, right? And obviously he's an SEC guy who's done a lot of SEC stuff. So like, that's something I think no one has paid attention to that, but that is something. And I think the offense, which has been great, obviously, but they've gone against a lot of tomato cans and dominated those tomato cans.
Yeah.
And, so fair enough, but this was the first good defense that they had played in a while. And you could see they gave them some problems. Not that, they certainly controlled the game and did more than enough to win. Like I don't want to act like it wasn't just that for Notre Dame. Like they played well enough to win and did a lot of good things. But there was a lot of stuff in the game too, right? Where offensively, like, Carr was a bad pick. The first pick was really bad, because it's just like he was just throwing it blindly. He just stared it down.
Right. And it wasn't even disguised by Pitt. It wasn't exotic at all. Yeah. It just you can't have that. Yeah.
The second pick, it was, that's a phenomenal play. Like maybe he should see that or whatever, but like, it's probably as much on the call as it is on the actual play by him. But that first pick was like a bad pick, and it was lucky that it did turn into a pick six. And there was just things too, like you throw the pick six, and then Schuler gets the 2-point conversion, takes it back for 2. So it totally just mitigates that mistake.
It's like a +4 play. It's like just slightly better than a field goal.
Yeah.
For Pitt. So
and I think that like there were things that just you don't score on the you don't score on the 4th and inches, but tell me this though, Greg, when you saw they went when it was first down at the half-yard line or whatever, and they ran the sneak, then I was like, maybe this is why they don't run the sneak, because that looked terrible.
Right.
And I was like, CJ Carr has no feel for this at all. Like, just not like. So I was like, it's okay to just put in another guy just for the sneak purposes. That's what I was thinking at that time. But so yeah, there was things like that you could see that was there. But like, then again, Notre Dame just has better players. Like they have talent on offense, and that's what really ruled the day.
Like something like there's inefficiencies there, and then we're going to talk about them. But then like you have Jeremiyah Love who like gets free and does a 6-spin move on the safety, like doesn't even touch him, and then he runs in for the end zone, like stuff like that. Like obviously Malachi Fields makes a one-handed catch that's not in Pitt's bag. He makes another great catch on a jump ball play where Pitt jumped off sides again. Like they have that stuff in their arsenal that Pitt just doesn't have. And guys like Pitt don't have. I will say, and so I'll go to this super chat from Nick Lavario again. Denbrock only works half the field on short yardage pass plays in red zone. He has to run some guys back across the field. So it is true a lot of the time, like they do the thing where he's only working half of it, right? He's not working full field stuff. They roll out the quarterback. I'm so the 4th and inches thing. I think that if it had been on the goal line, I think they would have scored because it was so close. I mean, I did see when they tried to sneak in when they were on the opposite goal line. I did think, well, that's not super convincing for sure.
Yeah.
So there's that. I don't think that it is ever appropriate against Pitt in that situation against Pitt, right? To ever call a rollout pass when you have an inch to go and you are the team that you're a playoff caliber team and you want to like win the national title. Like that to me, I was saying to people, like, this is the story of the game to me in a lot of ways. I say that kind of tongue in cheek, but kind of not also. You can't
kind
do
of
that.
the story of the season.
Yeah. You can't do that. In my opinion, you cannot roll him out there. I don't care if it's wide open. You shouldn't be scheming stuff against Pitt on the inch line. There's 100 things you have to. Marcus Freeman talks about it all the time. Hey, we're an O-line driven program. You can't be an O-line driven program and roll them out on 4th and an inch, up 14-3. You know, I just don't think you can do that. I was pretty upset. So there's just that piece of it. Go ahead.
Well, it's just one of those things, right? Where it's like and I understand they were always in control of the game. There was never any danger of them losing the game at any point.
For sure.
But it's like one of those things where it's like, at that point, if you literally score there, it's like the game is over then.
Yes.
Like that game is over then. And okay, 15 minutes later, then the game was over. But you know what I mean? Like
but you made the decision. You could have done it any kind of way.
Yes. You got to get it. That has to be a mentality too. Because
right.
That's what it more than anything. Because if you show no confidence to get that, it's like when you have to go and actually do that at some point, because you're probably going to have to do that again at some point, then you're not going to get it. Like guys are going to be like, oh, man, we just can't get this. Like it'll be in the back of their minds. Like build up the confidence now to do it, because I actually thought too, like the other red zone stuff that like the red zone calls were good in terms of what Denbrock did in terms of even the stuff that didn't work was like execution stuff, not like on the call, in my opinion. Other than that, other than the 1/4 and inches, goal line, whatever, right? But that specific thing, like you just gotta go. You have to be able to get that. You have to be able to get that, and I think in a lot of ways too, it's just like it is something. I get it. Like it doesn't matter in this game because whatever, they're just so much better than Pitt, and it just was so obvious. Like Pitt was a total fraud, and guess what, guys? Pitt's not beating Miami and Georgia Tech. Maybe they can win one of those games.
I think they could beat Georgia Tech. I think they
could beat Georgia Tech, but I don't think they're going to beat Miami because, like, I mean, their offensive tackles are just going to get destroyed against Miami's defensive line in that game. So I don't really see, Miami Cristobal would have to have his biggest Cristobal game of all time for them to lose that game. But, you're going to play teams in the CFP as long as now, like you expect them to win these next two games and make the CFP. They absolutely should. Where you're going to have to make that at some point. You're going to have to, because that is how you lose games, because some of these games are going to be closer. You're not going to blow out all these teams.
Yeah.
CFP.
It cost you in large part the game against Texas A&M. I think they were up 3. I think they were up 3 when they had the ball at midfield on 4th and 1 against Texas A&M. They don't get it. And then, they had a chance to go up 2 scores at that point. They're throwing an interception at the goal line against USC. That's the other part of this too. It's like you just had a game where you threw the ball in this situation and it was intercepted. That's the part of this that I don't understand. It's like it's not like you've had success throwing it either. there's the other part of this where you've tried the other stuff. Like it's definitely like the quarterback run that they had, the quarterback counter that they ran in, that seems to be viable. It only has not worked one time because they blew an assignment, right?
Yeah.
Which is like, so they've been able to do that. I don't know why they don't continue to go to that well. And like, I'm monitoring the Marcus Freeman's press conference because I want to see if someone asks him like, hey, this is you throwing the ball on 4th and an inch from the goal line against Pitt is counter to your like worldview.
Yes.
Can you walk us through that? Because it was a timeout. He's going to sign off on whatever 4th down calls there, and he doesn't. So I'm just, or he does, and they don't, they don't run the ball and they throw it. That to me is, I don't like that.
Okay, so I just want to bring up too, because Rajon saying like Denbrock doesn't seem to get it. I don't think you guys understand. If Marcus Freeman thought that they were going to get it on 4th and inches, they would be sneaking it.
Like, that's just why I want Marcus to answer the question, because after a timeout,
well, he's not going to give the answer that.
No, I know, but I do want it to be asked. I want to see what he says, and if he filibusters, then he filibusters. Nothing you can do. But I do think it's worth the question, because I'm very curious about this, and that's why, like, to your point, that's why I don't put this particular thing on Denbrock per se, because the head coach should have sign off on this. If Denbrock says I want to throw a rollout pass, and Marcus is like, no, we need to run it some kind of way, run the ball, then he will.
And also, too, this is a Monday press conference question and not a post game after you just beat the crap out of these guys question, too. That's the one thing. So I know,
I'm just monitoring.
No, I'm just saying because of sorry, there's all the it's all the weird so I don't know what the actual guy's name is anymore. But the one guy said, like, there's softball questions at these things. Like, after the game, when they like literally dominated the game and basically did exactly what they needed to do to show, like, yeah, we're legit. We played a ranked team on the road and we whooped them. That isn't the time to ask. That's why you get so many of those questions on the Monday, where whatever, because they know, like, it's not the time to ask it. It's not the time to ask it.
Also, Matt is doing video and other things during the press conference, so he's not. He's never asked a question post game because he's doing other things. It's a little. It's like the other part. Like, they can ask what they want. Ask what you want. I'm hoping someone asks him. I'm not. Isn't this softball? Softball.
Although, someone might ask him.
Well, someone might ask him something else. Matt Hines, thank you for the super chat. Says thank you for the content. Thank you, Matt. We appreciate that. Let's see. Just doing some other stuff. Reading my mind. Greek deeply into this. Yeah. So I didn't like this thing. Tell me, like, okay. Because I told you before the show, just full transparency, I told you I was in a bad mood. And part of it is, some of it when, like, I feel like Notre Dame is, when I feel like, and this doesn't really apply to the defense, like, at all. So just to clarify that, when I'm watching the game, I always kind of keep track in my mind, like, how many non-winning plays are you making? And I feel like when a team is playing well, and I think you can kind of gauge this as well, Jamie, because I think you watch it. When a team is playing well, you think, oh, that's a winning play. Like, that's a winning play. That's a winning play. And, like, when things start to add up for me, like Eli Raridan continuing to not understand where he is on the field, like, that sort of thing kind of, like, grates on me as the game goes on. So something like that. When Malachi Fields is, like, not getting 5 yards, and the game was over, so it doesn't really matter, but it kind of just hits in my mind. And so, and then when they don't really manage the game as well as they should, like on the first drive, you get second and set, you throwing the ball sideways, which Notre Dame continued to do. And I want to ask you about that in a second, but it's stuff like that. And so this is more for me and you. It's like, that's why I said, I'm in a bad mood. It's those little things that grate on me a little bit. And it's like, I want it to be, when I feel like a team is playing well, and a team is playing at a really high level, we don't, you don't see that stuff. That sort of grades on me. It's not like a big picture thing. It's just little granular stuff. And so,
yeah, which I think is totally fair. And I also think that it's kind of been the deal with the offense for the whole year. The whole year.
It's I want to say post Arkansas.
Yes.
I think Purdue, Arkansas was not this way. And then it's been that way a little bit. Even last week to some extent, not really, but like because they were very efficient offensively last week. But it's more often than not that they're doing the little things that are just like, you got to clean those up if you want to be like a great team.
Yeah. And I mean, I got to be honest, like when you watch all these other teams too, it's the same thing. So it's not like it's
for sure.
It's not a thing that it's just unique to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Just that obviously we're analyzing Notre Dame. So, we're going to pick out these things, but
right.
I will say, and when you're talking about, who do you trust more and all that out of the defense or the offense, there's far fewer of those plays from the defense. Like it's just, you see so many winning plays from the defense comparatively.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. It's not just youth, right? It's not youth for some of the guys. And it's one thing if it's the new guys up front and it's like that, those guys lose or something like that up front, a 1-on-1 or something. Okay. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about those, those attention to detail that I think because they do it well most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, there's too many of those where it's like, especially on like muddy downs where it's like, it's got to be this way, and it's not. And I think that is probably a totally fair criticism of the offense because that's why they just haven't been as good in the red zone. It's why they haven't been as good on third down this year.
Well, it's like, go ahead. What were you going to say? I thought you were finished.
Well, I was also going to say too that, as good as CJ Carr has been, he, he's checking into things, he's doing it, and you can see growth from him. You still see a lot of hey, he's a first-year quarterback, and you still see that Mike Denbrock still calls things to protect him at times. So, the play that you brought up on the first drive where they throw that play, I'm like, he's doing that. It's still in Denbrock's mind, he's thinking about, protecting him a little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because of the pick that we saw, right? Later on, it was after that drive.
Right.
But because maybe you see that in practice where he's like, yeah, if someone's throwing that pick in practice, especially if it's against scout team, you are thinking man, I don't know if I can call this.
Right.
That's so it could be just as simple as that. But I definitely see things with Cars, even though it's they let him go and do certain things, but I also see tons of times where I'm like, yeah, this is definitely when we're talking about hey, this is a half field read and all that. It's I think a lot of that is just very on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird that sometimes he's splitting the baby, he's protecting him, but then he's kind of putting him in vulnerable positions. It is a little strange. Dave Caulfield, weatherman, ABC 57, much like the rain chances during the game, he was unimpressed with Pitt and extremely unimpressed with the officiating. Go Irish. God, these guys, man, these phantom penalties are just unbelievable.
They're
unbelievable. It's so okay. You have, first of all, there's an instance, if you're going to call okay, so the same guy who calls the ticky-tack, Jaden Osbury grabbed his helmet as he's, the play has been over for
the guy grabbed his face mask.
The other guy grabbed Osbury's face mask and pulled him this way. The play has been over, just blow it dead. And then it's his hand grasped his, but
I thought it was a taunting call.
I thought it was too. And not only is it like a nothing thing that happened. It's like the drive's going to be over. How about this? How about you get a first down for that? How about the play was over immediately and it's been over and Notre Dame's driving it back. Instead of blowing the whistle, no. I'm going to look for this little baby face mask, right? So I'm going to throw that penalty flag. The same guy who watches Desmond Reed like punch someone on the ground and do nothing. Like if you're letting that happen,
there is zero chance that they didn't see that. So I don't care. And I know this one guy brings up, don't be complaining about the refs. No, it's incompetence. I can't stand for it. We're not, I mean, I definitely tweet about it less now because I'm just like, I can't with these guys at much, but it's so bad. And it looks so in the bag for these ACC teams. It looks so in the bag that it just like, I don't know how to avoid it. Like, I honestly think too, that like you even heard on the one that, you know, the touchdown that got called back, there was a guy trying to argue that it was like, no, it was so not even close. And even, but I mean, of course, the officiating expert and Jesse Palmer were like, I think that's a touchdown. No, it was not. Like, you are making things up to try to make it a touchdown. That was not a touchdown.
And the tight end's blocking. The tight end is blocking out front of the play as well.
Yeah.
You get Leonard Moore, and please don't tell me it's our show. If we want to talk about the rest, we'll talk about the rest. Okay, I can complain about it, whatever. Like, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, and this is stop babying the refs, because if I'm going to sit here and get on Eli Raridan for not knowing where his feet are, then I'm going to get on the paid professional who doesn't know what he's doing and can't officiate at this level. It's unacceptable. Like, I'm going to say, I'm sorry, I'm not babying these guys anymore. This is twice now with this terrible crew. They stink. And they're costing Notre Dame points all the time. They tried to do it on the drive when the touchdown got called back, and then they did it at the end where they just let them walk down the field with their terrible penalty calls. They stink. They're terrible. They're bad at the job. So I'm going to say it. We need people who are professionals and have done a good job. And this crew specifically, I don't know if it's ACC. I don't know what it is, but they're bad.
There was the same crew for as the NC State game, if anyone was wondering. Also, they did the Northern Illinois game, for anyone who's wondering if that, which I'm sure that there were so many things wrong that I don't like blame that loss on the refs, but like, I'm sure there were many calls in that game were bad that we could probably go back to and point out that these guys are terrible at their jobs.
You need to find people who are good at their jobs, right? Someone who's good at their job is Goods Candies, and they've been doing it for a long time. Long time. Goods Candies is a small Indiana-based chocolate company. Recipes going back 100 years. 100 years, Jane. That's how good they are. The recipes are tried and true. 100 years. They're a small batch producer of decadent confections ranging from toffee to cream centers to their latest offering, peanut butter bombs. Forrest Gump said, your life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, but Goods Candies wants you to make sure that you do know what you're getting. When you have the ACC refs, you know you're going to eat something, but it's not good. You're getting bad things with ACC refs. You're getting great stuff from Goods Candies. Its cream centers have a unique design, so you always know what's waiting inside. All varieties are offered in milk and dark chocolate. For the business listeners, Goods Candies offers customized chocolate bar gift boxes. They're not customized wrappers like you get at the bank. They're customized chocolate bars that include your logo or a message. These make the ideal client gift, and Goods Candies can handle all shipping for you. The website is www.goodscandies.com. Viewers can save 20% through the year with the promo code ISD. Place your order online or reach out to Goods Candies at goodscandies.com with questions. All right, Jamie. Let's talk about the O-line real quick. It was so Notre Dame runs for, let's take out sack adjusted rushing. Okay. So let's take away sacks, 183 yards rushing for Notre Dame, 5.2 yards per carry. Obviously you have a 56-yard run for Jeremiyah Love, which you're not going to take away because that's like a perfectly blocked kind of play.
It was blocked well.
Right.
Yeah.
It's blocked well. Jeremiyah Love makes one man miss and he walks into the end zone. Right. So you run for 183, 5.2 a carry. Again, sack adjusted. there's also like a ton of stuffs in this game. Is that just a product of the way that Pittsburgh plays defense?
It is 100% a product of the way Pittsburgh plays defense, right? Like, they are constantly doing things for it. And that's also why some of those holes open up on some of those plays where you're like, oh, they're out of position because a guy's supposed to slant over to get to a gap and he doesn't get there. And then they're down a gap. And then all of a sudden you see like, that's a big hole there. That's one of those things. Like if your O-line is doing a good job, you're going to get some of those. So I think there's some of that. And I also don't think Joe Auden getting beat by Francis Breu for like some of these plays of like, but Breu's a good player, man. He's a very good player. And guys make plays. Like it's like Rasheem Biles, stud. Like he's a stud. Like that was, and obviously like he's a guy who hasn't played in, 4 weeks or whatever, right? 4 or 5 weeks. So that was big for them to get him back. So I think you got to look at it. Obviously there's plays where Love gains a ton of yards after contact, right? Like that is something that happens. But I think overall, like I thought the O-line wise did a pretty good job with, run blocking. And I'll say even the pressures on it, like most of the pressure stuff, I would put like, man, this is the other thing. I don't want to be dunking on CJ Carr, but like the end of the half, what are you doing, man? Like you cannot hold on to that ball there. Throw that into the stands. Like there's no way that you could be waiting and thinking, oh, maybe something's going to happen here. Like he just has a lack of awareness when it comes to that, where it's like his eyes are downfield. And that's a good thing in a lot of ways, because it does make him make throws sometimes with pressure that you're like, wow, that was a great throw. And it's like, if he was paying too much attention to the pressure, maybe he wasn't. But his lack of awareness, a lack of feel of like the rush is going to get, there were so many other times too, where he is so close to just getting hit and it being like, this is going to be a terrible play. And he just doesn't have a good feel for that. I don't know why. Like, even when it's like not like a blindside thing, it's it's kind of in his face, but he doesn't really feel it. Like, he just got to do a better job of just like being aware there and not like just not in situationally he has to be better. But I thought like a lot of the pressure that they got in the game too, because this was a game where they got more pressure than what we've seen from most teams against Notre Dame, right? But I thought it was almost exclusively like blitz and extra guys coming and Carr either just holding on because he's like want to hit something, and like most of the time it was like ball's got to be out. You got to make a decision. You got to kind of navigate the pocket a little bit better, like feel it, because I mean Heinzel obviously didn't have a good game at all, and Notre Dame made him look like a freshman in so many ways, but he does have a good feel of like pressure. I like his pocket movement is pretty good, like, and that is something I think with like Carr like is lacking.
Remember I just said like it's weird how they sometimes they protect him and sometimes they don't. It's like I put in our chat, like, why is Marcus calling a timeout with 13 seconds left like that? Like, just steal a possession. Like, you're getting the ball to start second half. Like, they put him in, but CJ Carr is stubborn. How many times have we seen it? It's like he just doesn't want to. He will not give up on a play. Like, that is his MO, and that is his thing right now. And that's, you got to understand it, right? You have to know your player. If you give him a chance to hold on the ball and try to make a play, then he's going to. Like, why are they trying? Because Christian said, well, you try to get a field goal with this group. Like, you can't feel good about any, like, especially when I could see if Notre Dame wasn't getting the ball to start the half, you want to try to steal a possession.
Yeah, I agree.
Stealing a possession there like that. You're putting, there's a difference between taking a chance and not playing scared and being reckless about it. I thought that was a little bit reckless. Like, you didn't need to do that.
Well, and I think too, like part of it, which you saw later on, Freeman adjusted and was like, we're not even going to try to kick a field goal.
Right,
I don't care. It's a chip shot.
Right.
Like, because the analytics would tell him kick the field goal here, but he didn't do it because he's like, for probably numerous reasons. One, either didn't think he was going to make it or don't want to ruin this guy's confidence already because want to make sure that he can just make these extra points or whatever, right? Like all of these things. And yet it was like the other part of the brain where it's like, the aggression to try to go and steal an extra possession. I get it last year, you know what I mean? But not even
for sure
this year. I don't think it would have. I don't think it was smart. Yeah, I agree with that.
I like the instinct. It just didn't. I didn't think it made sense in that moment.
Yes.
What do you any players that we haven't talked about? Someone who you were watching throughout the game, and just like, hey, I want to shout this guy out. I thought he played well. Someone you want to kind of point out?
I mean, a whole bunch. I thought Adon Schuler played a great game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not just the play where he's gets the picks 2 or whatever, right? But like, he played a great game. Like, there was a play that was, I think it was 1st and goal. They're trying to run a whip route, and he is like all over it. Like, he knew it was coming, and that's just something that I don't think like. I think last year he might have got beat on that, and he's just he has really improved in man coverage. Reminds me a lot of the way that X Watts got better in man coverage from year to year. So that like something that definitely stood out. I thought it was obviously another really good game for Josh Burnham, who
especially early,
just early on, probably should have had another sack that he missed too. Anya had a good game. Anya had another good game, and we kind of talked about how those guys like maybe this is a breakout here. Well, that's 3 straight games now for those guys. So that obviously is, a big deal. And so I think there were just so many guys I mean, the defense in general was just like, I liked what I saw from those, just the group as a whole. And I thought like Christian Gray didn't really get tested. I think it says a lot about how like
beyond the one time.
Yeah. And the fact that he was so all over that, when they ran that cross, like that was great. Like, so I think there's numerous guys on the defense that I think were deserving of it. I will say, like, even for Raritan, even though, you want to have a little bit better sideline awareness with some of that stuff, like, unsurprisingly, he had a big game. Like, I think that was something like that's there for them more often if they want it. And obviously in this game, I highlighted before the game, like tight ends have just 8 against them. So it wasn't a thing that I thought wasn't going to happen. But yeah, that definitely, you know what too? Hey, this is another thing I want to shout out. Bryce Young, because
good call. Yeah.
Bryce Young, who had a good game. And you know what? First of all, he hasn't been playing like garbage. He's been playing pretty good, but he hasn't been making plays. Well, today he made some plays, right? And I think that was good to see. Obviously, good confidence builder for him. Although I'm sure they're going to be replaying that, nice hands, feet to that. I was like, what is that? That was a bad drop on the pick.
Yeah. Luke Tolich again. The role that they have him in, and this is kind of like the anti-offense thing where it's like he makes a lot of winning plays that he's not out there a ton for to accumulate a bunch of numbers, but like when he is out there, he does the right thing, like on the goal line. He obviously gets the stop. He works it and he gets the stop on the goal line play where the touchdown got overturned. The play before, they tried to target his player and he works underneath the pick. And so he's basically in position and he blows up the play, right? And so the play can't work for them. It's those little things like when you have a guy in a role, and they obviously have a pretty specific role for him, when he comes in and plays it as well as he does, Like, I just think that's it's invaluable for a defense that wants to be really good. I think Devontae Smith the last 2 games has been playing.
Devontae Smith, that is 100%. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention him. Keep going.
No. He's been solid. I mean, he's been great in man coverage. We highlighted, like, this was a bad matchup for Pitt because Notre Dame doesn't play a ton of zone, and Pitt needs to play against zone for their passing game, and they're not very good against man. And Notre Dame played a ton of man today, and lo and behold, you didn't have guys open. Heinzel had to hold the ball for a little bit longer. So I thought, and the thing about Devontae Smith too, I'll give him credit, like he hasn't played a ton of football, and he came back against Navy, which is like obviously not doing anything that he's going to want to be doing, like if he goes on to the pros, which is obviously what everyone wants. He didn't have to come back then. He came back against Navy, and he's playing in line, and he's like washing down like the tight end on the blocking play. Like, he's doing all that little stuff. Again, winning plays that don't show up, but you're doing it on the defensive side. I kind of wanted to, shout him out for that because I thought that was a big deal in my opinion. And it went a long way towards the defense playing well. I mean, a bunch of people bring up Tay Johnson. I mean, the pick 6 is obviously a huge play. There was another play where
came up on wow, that was a big time play.
And it's funny too because there's like guys who were kind of like reaching and missing, and then Tay comes and it's like, plays over, done. I'm hitting you, and you're on the ground.
Those are Xavier Watts plays, right? Like those are.
Those are like Xavier Watts plays. Those are Kyle Hamilton plays. Yes. Like, those are the types of plays where he comes up and it's like, when he gets there, plays over, done. We're not messing around anymore. He's kind of
shocked at how well he tackles. It's shocking.
It's an innate ability that he has. He has a gift for it because if it's one thing to start off not being great at it and then to become good at it, it's something you can coach. If you start off the way he does, I mean, frankly, there's a lot of Kyle Hamilton comparisons. Kyle was similar in that he came in as just a good tackler.
Sorry, I was just reacting. Red zone pick for Bama, but then there's a PI on Oklahoma.
So they're down 10-0.
They're down 10-0, but now they're pretty much about to score here.
That's definitely a penalty. That's definitely a penalty. You can't do that. So Tay Johnson. It's just like, he's what it looks like, man. He really is. Obviously, Malachi Fields. The day's kind of messed up for him because he didn't get that 4th down, but made one of the best catches you'll ever see on the one-hander on 3rd and long in the I think it was going in end of the first quarter, going in the second quarter. Can't get over 100 yards. If he had just gotten that one more yard, it'd be 7 for 100. But huge game for him, 2 touchdowns. He hasn't gotten in the end zone a ton this year. I mean, talk about him and then finally kind of unlocking his ability to go up and get the ball.
Yeah. And if you think about it, you're kind of always wondering why they don't, like, I know it's not a high percentage play, but it really sure does seem like a high percentage play.
It's like Claypool
throw it up
in 19.
Yes, right? And that's some special stuff. And it is true every single time. And every single time that they get like a, free play, that should be the play. Chuck it up to Fields. That should
and good awareness by Carr on that.
Yes, very good awareness
for him to recognize that. Tyler Borgman says, Greg and Jamie, who should Notre Dame be rooting for in this game? Bama versus OU. Definitely Bama. You want to eliminate as many SEC teams.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma's out if they lose this game. So I think that's what people should be rooting for. We'll say big Navy win today.
Yeah. Over USF. Win. Was USF? Yeah. No, they weren't ranked, right?
They were ranked.
What were they ranked?
24th. Navy's got a good chance of being ranked in this next one. And right now, I mean, Navy still has a couple of, tough games ahead of them in terms of their conference, but they are first in the AAC right now, as of today. And they only have one conference loss, and Army is not a conference game. So that game, and they play Memphis next week. It's at Memphis, which, probably better if they played at home, but
yeah.
And Horvath didn't play in this game. At least when I checked,
He didn't play.
Woodson, when I looked at it, he was the guy putting up numbers for it, but maybe I'll double check to see if he played.
I'll check it right now.
But no, he did play.
They both played.
He did play. They both played. Okay.
Woodson, he had 9 for 103. Horvath had 21 for 60. So, I mean, Woodson, got him for a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, it seems to me, they ran Horvath 21 times. They obviously used Woodson in some kind of role. They had him in there in some kind of role. By the way the committee works is the way the committee works on the Power 5 teams or the group of 5 teams. If they don't make the top 25 and you get the highest rank, they rank them until so you don't stop at 25. So if someone's not in the top 25, they rank them until you get to the highest one. Basically, is that how that works? So they don't have to be in the top 25. Tyler Borgman says, your thoughts on the lovely note written by USC's AD. I'm sure I have some things to say. I'm done with it. Like I just think Notre Dame should just say, you know what? No, because I think the way that USC's handled this matters, in my opinion. It is just like, if you're going to be like this, then actually, you know what? Do what you want. Do what you want to do. Yeah. Live your life, have a good time. We'll catch you when you get new leadership in here. I'm over it.
Here's one thing I don't get, which is like no other Big Ten team plays out of conference on the road after this time, right? No other Pac-12 team did either, except for Stanford. It was like those were the 2 teams. And I'll tell you what, no other team goes at the end of November and closes out their season at USC in Los Angeles from the Midwest.
Yeah.
That's what makes the friggin' rivalry, you moron. She's like, get out of here. Like, why are you in a position of power at this school and making these decisions based on like insane things that like should not matter with why you're making a decision like this?
Yeah.
It's so. And the thing is, too, is like, I know it's good for Notre Dame if USC wins this week, or if they win the next 2 weeks. It's good, right? That's good for Notre Dame from that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But like, let's be honest. I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to lose this game to Iowa, and I think they're going to get blown out by Oregon. And who knows? They might lose to UCLA too, because that's just the kind of thing that it might happen. And Lane Kiffin, like, what are you going to do if you lose like 2 of the next 3 or 3 of the next 3? Like, meanwhile, you're too busy worried about not playing in games. It's so unserious. It's so stupid. Honestly, too, I get it, because there's no like USC alums that can really like have enough influence to change any of this, because they literally had like Lynn Swan and Pat Hayden as the ADs before, and they were bad. And it was like, okay, we can't just have these other influential guys actually having say. We're getting a true AD now. And she followed up the guy who had, I think it was from Colorado, and he had like scandals or something like that. But I just don't like, how would you not should be like one of the things that they sit down first and be like, well, this is a game you're not getting rid of. Like,
right.
Should be 100% the first thing they tell you on the job. But, that's what it is. USC is USC.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't. It's like I said, that you're not you're acting in a way that Notre Dame doesn't recognize. And like, if they want to do the thing where it's like the conference is all that matters and all that, then do it. Then go do it. Like, Notre Dame doesn't have to be a part of that. It's like, because the rivalry is only as good as, or is it only means something if both institutions agree it means something. If USC doesn't agree that it means something, then we don't have to do it. Like, it's, nothing is set in stone. Nothing lasts forever, and it doesn't have to, right? They changed their, they changed the way that they feel about things. At some point, obviously Notre Dame needs to win the next 2 games, and then we'll have this conversation. At some point, we do have to think 25 versus 24. Obviously, I mean, there's the playoffs and how that goes and everything, but like the types of teams you're playing and all those other things, it's an interesting conversation to me versus the 25 team versus the 24 team. They can definitely do more things on offense this year,
yes.
but there's something about last year's offense that just, I don't know. Maybe it's in hindsight. I feel the way I feel because of the playoff run and everything. I don't know. There was something about, especially like the Riley Leonard factor, where it's like, oh, any third and short, it would just run it with Leonard and it's fine. There's something to that is very comforting. And not having that has obviously been a huge factor for Notre Dame. It's just, but I'm evaluating the team, and I think about the team, and obviously there's like I said, there's a couple games to go. There's things to figure it out. One more home game left. And so you got, or one more guaranteed home game left, and you just got to soak it in, maybe around some Notre Dame fans, then in a shared activity like pickleball. Maybe you could do that. And maybe you could do that with H2 Pickleball, founded by Notre Dame alum Todd Hill. He's teaming with fellow alums Jack Gibbs and Will Howells, who's a top 10 pickleball pro, to bring Notre Dame fans to Notre Dame Pickleball Crew League. Besides football, what better way to connect and engage Notre Dame fans than through pickleball? Membership is free, and members will have access to special discounts, special events, and discounts. The next event will be a Will Howells Pickleball Clinic on the Friday before the Syracuse game. Members will also get discounted tickets to the Syracuse game. Contact Todd at h2pickleball.com or call him at 574-339-5195 to join the league. Be sure to visit the H2 Pickleball facility in Mishawaka when you are in town. H2 Pickleball is located at 55801 Evergreen Plaza Drive in Mishawaka, Indiana. On the front of Notre Dame being, one of the better teams in college football, and, possibly better than the 24 team, they haven't won a game by less than 10 points this year.
Yeah.
Which feels good, right? And like, it feels like it's a good job. And so there's that piece of it. And this was like the last, kind of big test Notre Dame was going to have. And they win by 22 points. What does that say to you?
I think it just says exactly what we've kind of seen for the last, during this entire streak, really, like, or basically since the Purdue game, that Notre Dame is a really good team. They're really good, and they are much better than most teams, and they are deserving. Like, they are absolutely one. If you're talking about choosing who are the best teams that deserve to be in the college football playoff, they are one of them. Mm-hmm. They are one of them. So I saw like Sid Irish saying that, well, Oklahoma's going to jump them. I don't think it's automatic, where you would have said, if the point is that if Notre Dame had been squeaking by and these were like the 2018 team, where you're like, they won games, right? And they certainly won a bunch of games by a lot. But they also won games where it was like they had to eke it out. Or the 2012 team, which was like, there was a lot of those eke it out games, right? Like, this is like last year when they were on that streak too, like where they were blowing teams up. It's the same thing, right? Like, and that's why too, it's hard to say that Notre Dame couldn't beat anyone that's left on, like, out there. because they've just kind of proven it. It's like you don't just beat these teams all the time, and they beat these teams by a lot and leave points on the board. Like some of these games should, like, not even just some of them, probably like 4 games this year where you could have just added an extra like 14 points in each of those games. And maybe it doesn't seem like much because it doesn't matter. They won by enough, but like it is one of these things. Like, and if you look at, so like Pitt got the garbage time touchdown in this. And honestly, it doesn't matter at all, especially when they were averaging 40 points a game with Mason Heinchel. I want to point out Mason Heinchel in this game. I look because they take a while to update the QBR. 8.4 QBR.
It's out of 100.
It's out of 100. I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, people picked Pitt to win the game, just straight up, like just not cover, just like I'm picking Pitt to win, and
they
like
weren't
not
basing it off of any, like we said before, they weren't basing it off of anything real other than, yeah, I'm just picking. I just like this Mason Heinchel kid. That's not a good enough reason, to pick someone to win. But I think, every chance that Notre Dame has gotten these kind of opportunities, it's like they've gone out and been like, yeah, I think we can say Notre Dame is definitely a top 10 team. They're definitely, that's yes. They've just done it every chance. Because even if you look at like the Boston College game, which was like, their worst game out of this whole run, it was a game that no one really cares because everyone has that kind of game like that. And they still won by 15 and it was comfortable and they were never in a danger of losing. But in these games, like this game was like, it was over in the first quarter.
Yeah. Yeah. So look, these are obviously the markings of like a really good team. And here's like, everyone's worried about Alabama, right? So like, what do we know about the committee? What do they like? They like complete teams. Alabama has something that they cannot do, and that thing is they cannot run the ball.
Yeah,
and they have a pretty bad loss to Florida State, right? And like, look, early in the year, fine, all that, that's great, all fine and good. They can't run the ball. Alabama can't run the ball, and the committee does not like teams that are not balanced and they don't have then they have weaknesses. Okay, you look at a 2-loss Alabama versus a 2-loss Notre Dame. Like, I don't think they'll keep Alabama ahead. They're not going to keep Alabama ahead of Notre Dame if they lose this game at home, right?
That's another thing.
You just lose at home like this. And again, when you have a weakness, you have a specific weakness, and it's like the committee doesn't like that. So it's not something I'm going to worry about too much. Any final thoughts, Jamie, before we get going?
No, just I think that like no matter what happens in these games, like I do think the Texas. Even though I think Texas, I don't think they're going to beat Georgia at all. But if they beat Georgia, even though I think, they're Georgia's, there's some questions about them, especially on defense. I think that is something that I would be surprised if Texas didn't jump them, just because, like Texas also like beat OU pretty good and we're just better. And Texas is also on their own kind of like streak, basically.
Yeah. Streak. Overtime to Kentucky. Overtime.
I know, but it's just
I get you.
But they do look they have mentioned that overtime wins, like they're like, oh, they only beat this team in overtime. Like they criticize teams to do that. So
yeah,
which is good.
Yeah. Okay. We can end it there. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you like what you heard, hit that like button, hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell, whatever it is. We are going live. I'm going to have to do a morning after recap later. Rajon asked me what time in the morning. My daughter has another soccer game, and we got to set up for that. I'm in charge of the setup. They play at 9 a.m. out here. So, like, I couldn't even do super early. Like, even, I don't know, it'd have to be like 6 a.m. my time. And I don't really want to do that. So maybe I could go in the afternoon, do a morning after show, or a day after show, more like. We could do that. So I'll figure something out. But I'll get something out tomorrow because it's exciting time. Notre Dame moves to 8-2, and they're kind of on a roll right now. Very good football team. Beat Pitt. Got to make fun of Pitt a little bit. So, all right. So I'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll be back for Power Hour on Monday. Have a good rest of your day, everyone. Enjoy the footballs. Keep hitting and hustling.